Alright, now it's online. Alright, hello everybody, this is 5-Star General.
This is Raelcun.
And today, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to show you all of the matches we wanted to for the round robin. Apparently that's going to get pushed back a little bit more. But hopefully we are looking to around 6:30. We should be able to have the match between Texanius and Steve Budd. So we should be able to get the fourth match out of the way. And at the moment, as you guys can no doubt see here, we've got Edtjuh and Caeltos ready for a bit of a show match. So we're about ready to get this underway here. Raelcun, do you have anything else to contribute to?
I don't know. There's not much to say yet. I mean,
Yeah, there isn't.
Caeltos is always fun to watch. He's a really good Chaos Lord. Edtjuh, I don't know if he's actually going to random. I'd assume not.
Yeah, we would think that he wouldn't, but who knows?
Never entirely sure. Sometimes the players, they just throw out the random.
Well, I'm rolling down.
See what happens.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you get like in a kind of showmatch situation, you get to, I mean, we know that a lot of these guys play different things, different times and whatnot. So, sometimes when they get the chance to just kind of do a show match, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. They kind of like to go ahead and go like, oh, I can go and show off my other skills.
Mm-hmm.
So we also may be looking to get Pega in here as well. So get a few guys going in with this show match here instead of just both Caeltos and Edtjuh. We were looking to get Mercy Killer, but unfortunately seems to have gone offline. So once we figure out if we got Pega, we'll go ahead and get the first one going.
Uh-oh. I'm just asking about a grenade bug.
Which one? I don't think any of us know about it.
Wow, Manner.
Alright, well, I'm not going to wait too much longer on Pega here, so we'll just go ahead and get the first one started. And if Pega or someone else wants to hop in, we'll go ahead and get them in. And actually have a fair amount of good players online right now, so we should be able to pull them in as necessary, so.
I like how Caeltos, the Chaos player, says that he doesn't like that. Just shows that, he's a really nice guy and he doesn't look to do any sorts of that kind of abusive stuff. If there's a bug, he avoids using it. He just wants to become a better player.
Yeah. And it seems like Edtjuh here is just kind of, at least being, I want to say educated about it.
Mysterious. He doesn't want to spread it around so that people
Yeah.
start using it,
Oh, okay, Pega actually seems to go ahead and send him an invite. Alrighty. Do-do-do. Just a little bit of mouth music for all of you there.
Do-do-do.
Herp-de-derp-de-derp.
Hey now. Hey now. It's not very nice. Gonna go cry.
Oh, join in. Okay, so just going ahead and looking at the chat really quick as we try and get Pega in here. Send him an invite. And, no, unfortunately, we aren't going to let just anyone and everyone hop in and spectate because of the lag factor. It's kind of bad enough already having the number of players we have in here spectating. So, sorry about that, but that's what the stream is for, guys. And, top 100, 1600 PSR
What?
player. I don't know, I mean, I think we have enough players right now, but if we need players, I'll definitely if someone's interested, maybe. But all right, so Pega's not hopping in here at the moment, so let's just get this started.
Okay.
And I should probably ask for map requests first, because if they want to play on something other than Seawall Frontier, I certainly will not stop them. But they seem
Seawall is fine.
They seem quite fine with Seawall, so.
One of these times you need to host just a completely random map and just say map requests and see if they actually go, oh, no, 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 or if they're just like, it always seems like they just don't care.
And apparently we have to wait for a moment here because Edtjuh needs to go grab a shirt. Not really sure why here. I don't think we have access to his webcam.
He has to undress at the same time, so.
Yeah, actually, Raelcun, if you could go ahead and grab the access codes there to Edtjuh's webcam, we'll go ahead and get that up for everyone here because I think everyone totally wants to see that. Am I right?
Good. I'm gonna remain neutral on that and stay out of trouble.
All right, so everyone is
readied up as random.
Yeah, Edtjuh is indeed readied up as random, so we're gonna go ahead and get this rolling. In 10, 9, 8. I'm not gonna keep going with the countdown. You guys can see that yourselves, but yeah, so that'll be interesting to see what he ends up as too.
Yeah, so Edtjuh throwing out the random. Trying to think of like the worst possible outcome. But the problem is there aren't really too many heroes that just aren't usable. If any, actually.
Yeah, not anymore. I think they're all in a pretty good state. But against Chaos, probably the worst thing for Edtjuh would be if he ran him into Orcs. So let's go ahead and see what he ran him into.
Ravener.
Ravener Alpha, wow. So that didn't really hurt him very much at all. Actually, if anything, this hurts Caeltos.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good matchup here, and Caeltos is going to have to build blind because he has absolutely no idea.
No, he's not building blind. I'm not allowing that to stand. My apologies. I'm exercising my capabilities as a referee host here to go ahead and tell Caeltos exactly what Edtjuh is, especially because it's Ravener Alpha. But, yeah, no, I mean, it's good courtesy if you're playing random in any kind of show match or anything to go ahead and say what you are, but, especially if you're something like Ravener Alpha, you know. But anyway, I took care of the courtesy here for Edtjuh. So we see he's going 2 Termagants and a Spore Mine, along with obviously the starting Hormigaunt Brood. So actually Caeltos with his Chaos Sword is going for the natural requisition node here of Edtjuh. Kind of an interesting move. I guess he feels that his Chaos Sword's pretty beefy, he can tank anything, and he can get a pretty notable decap off there and maybe deprive Edtjuh of some key early requisition.
Yeah, and we see a little bit of an engagement going on. Heretics are going to chase off the first squad of Termagants.
And Hormigauts, oh wow! Those Hormigauts are really low here. But 2 of them are going to get out alive, that's about it. In the meantime, we got Spore Mines going after these Heretics who are just running for their lives here. They've got to get out of there before these things get too close, because otherwise these things will be able to follow them on retreat a little bit. It's a little bit better than when they were like 6 speed and did 50 damage in the beta. We really got that fixed up pretty quickly, but nonetheless, though, they still do full damage on retreat. Meanwhile, Caeltos only with 2 Heretic squads and going right for a Havoc immediately here. You got all 3 generators up immediately, so very econ-oriented build here, looking at getting power up as quickly as he can. Interesting that we see Edtjuh going completely for the power here. He's got a tunnel up on the backside of Caeltos' generators, and actually have some idle units there for a little bit, so a bit of an APM issue possibly. In the meantime, we've got the Chaos Sword going head-to-head with this Ravener Alpha, which is just taking it.
Look at this, Edtjuh zoning out these Havocs with the Spore Mines. He's trying to set up the Havocs to keep him away from his generators, but the Spore Mines keep coming in, so that they keep having
right on top of the
Havocs.
Yeah, we see Caeltos is trying to set up the Havoc within range of this base turret here, but he's just not quite able to do it there on this generator farm. Very expensive generator farm, in fact, is going down. And we're actually seeing now that Edtjuh is focusing the node here. and he's going to capture the node with his Stormagons while attacking the final generator there with his Stormagons. So the Havocs actually are just abandoning that entire spot here, and looking probably just go for map control at this point. We've got Heretics versus the Ravener Alpha up top here, and now finally the Chaos Lord is coming down bottom. We actually see another Havoc coming out for Caeltos, so it looks like he's probably going to look to cover the first Havoc with the second Havoc and maybe deal with the Swarm Mines that way.
Oh, look at the double toxic shot, just keeping this Chaos Lord out. His health is getting very low. He's just going to have to retreat. Very nice job using the Toxin Sack's ability there, and he does finish capturing that natural power node. Wondering if he might actually convert that just to deny it, make Caeltos have to kill the node if he wants that back, but it doesn't look like he's quite going for it. But as the Havocs are coming closer, he might decide to.
Yeah,
it looks like he's not.
He does have the requisition for it, but it looks like he might be saving for Raveners, is my best guess. Now, in the meantime, we've got these Heretics up. They were bashing Edtjuh's generators, but they've really got to be careful here. Spore Mines coming in. We have a crippling Chakra. This squad is going to get wiped. And here we go. The other one
might go down.
This might be another one too.
The Spore Mines are going to blow up again.
Following it,
and then there we go. He gets both Heretic squads with the Spore Mines.
That is absolutely huge. And only took 3 Spore Mines to take out 2 Heretic squads. And granted, one of the Heretic squads was a little depleted, but nonetheless, Caeltos now is going to have to rely on these 2 Havocs here to do his dirty work. And he's got a full generator farm again, but this mobile Ravener Alpha is just working around up here, getting the Stormagons up top, the Ravener Alpha up top, harassing everything possible. And these Havocs are not very mobile at all here. They do take out the last of the Spore Mines, but wow, that is a huge blow to Caeltos, especially, you mentioned this in the past, Raelcun, that Caeltos makes really good use of the Khorne warship that the Heretics provide. And that's probably one of the reasons why we even saw him go for 2 originally. We see Raveners now coming out here on these Havocs. But anyway, not having that Khorne warship is really going to hurt in the rest of this game. These Havocs are in a little bit of trouble here. The second Havoc squad not quite able to fire because of this rock outcropping here. These Raveners working that rock outcropping to get what they just be able to get on these Havocs without the other Havoc squad being able to fire them. They can't set up in time. They're all retreating. This is going to cost Caeltos that top generator farm. This is now, he has to spend almost over 800 requisition in generators by this point. Yeah, about 850.
Yeah, and this is why the Ravener is really tough on the Chaos Lord, because he's just really slow. Even with the player like Caeltos, is really good at using the worship to speed it up and allow him to move around the field a little bit more effectively. You can see the Chaos Lord's all the way down in the bottom because of the fact that he just doesn't have any capping squads. So Edtjuh, realizing Chaos Lord's down there, I'm just going to go hit the top. And he's basically just playing keep away with the Chaos Lord. The Ravener going down there to harass him a little bit, but as you can see, Chaos Lord's down bottom, his whole army is top, and if he keeps a good eye on where the Chaos Lord is, just continues to do that with no Heretics on the field, that's going to work out as a pretty effective strategy.
Yeah, and we do see actually that Edtjuh is already teching to tier 2, despite the huge emphasis
Chaos Lord
that Caeltos put on power here. And nice job there by Caeltos. You saw, he knew he was going to have to retreat because of the chain crippling poisons, so what he did is he actually maneuvered his Chaos Lord so that when he retreated, he would walk over the tunnel and crush it. Because the Chaos Lord has Crush, and basically what Crush is it allows the unit with Crush to, quote, crush cover, basically to walk over it. He basically can walk over tunnels and destroy them by just by walking over them. So meanwhile here, interesting to note that Edtjuh controls all requisition points on the map despite the early harass that Caeltos did there.
He is now taking the natural of Caeltos, as he hasn't actually been able to get that back. Havocs are down at the bottom trying to cap a requisition point. He's only got one of these victory points as well, so Caeltos pushed back quite a bit. He is getting close to being able to take tier 2. Here he goes. He's going to hit it immediately. Pretty much. He's going to try. He really, really wants that tier 2 to try and recover from his tier 1 losses. If you look at it, it's surprising how high his victory points are, given the losses that he took early on in the game. You'd figure that Edtjuh would have a much bigger lead than this at the moment. But, he's just ticking down one at a time. The Chaos Lord's still running around trying to slow the victory point bleed. He's actually hunting down the tunnels as much as possible as well. So once he hits tier 2, if he can get a couple good squads out on the field, he should be alright. But here we go again, the power node getting taken out. Power bash round 3 from Edtjuh.
And actually, we've seen these Hormigons here are just going to go try and get the decapture off, despite the withering Havoc Fire, and they will get out, actually, at this point. So that Havoc Fire will keep them from decapturing that. In the meantime, that we have a Zoanthrope coming out.
Whoa. Don't see these very often.
Here come more Raveners in the meantime. They're actually just going to walk right up to this Havoc Squad, as opposed to Berwin. Oh, this Havoc Squad's in a little bit of trouble. They do lose a member, but the Raveners will back off, as opposed, instead of running into the turret, the base turrets, and the other Havoc, of course. So we're going to see a Blood Crusher here. We don't see a Venom Brood from Edtjuh yet. Actually, the way that he's going right now, he's got a lot saved up. He could be looking to straight tech to tier 3. That could be a little dangerous, as while the Zoanthrope has a little bit of AV in terms of its capability, with the Warp Blast, I believe, it is not a hard AV counter.
Yeah, and also the issue is, even with that shield, it is extremely squishy. And it does count as a Synapse creature, so if you're not very careful with that Zoanthrope, if the Blood Crusher can get in on it and just kill it, he will knock back your entire army. It's going to do damage to your entire army. You have to be extremely careful with it, and as you can see, it's very slow, so it's not easy to do that. He's going to have to be very careful. Here comes the Blood Crusher. He's charging straight at it.
He really wants to get this down. We do see nice little bit of micro there, though, with the Zoanthrope, using the Focus Warp Blast on the Blood Crusher to snare it, and that will give him time to get out. Although, I really love the slow motion charge there into the Termagants, which were trying to retreat, but just like, oh no, the charge, it's taking forever, it's prolonged. And actually, we can see a little bit of a bug here. We see Termagants by this tunnel. They're actually in the tunnel network, but for whatever reason, we're actually able to see them outside of it. So actually, in the meantime, we have
still crushing tunnels like we saw the Chaos Lord do earlier. There's not actually that many left on the field. If you look around, there's just a couple.
Yeah, Edtjuh does seem to be establishing. Well, he's got one now at his natural requisition point, and also one at the top victory point. So it seems to be where he's staking his claims at the moment. And we are going to see actually Edtjuh grabbed a Venom Brood, and then it's going to tier 3. So he is not going to go straight to tier 3 off of what he had before. He is going to play it a little safe here. He is going to get that Venom Brood out. He's going to, I presume, try to use the Focus Warp Blast to snare this Blood Crusher and then use the Venom Brood. We do see a good job, though. Caeltos got out another squad of Heretics here. He's going to use that to Warship and support this Blood Crusher through Warship.
Yeah, and, you know, he really did need that Heretic squad, given, you know, the low number of squads that he has on the field. He needed something like the Warship to be able to support those, make them more effective. There goes the Focus Warp Blast. Blood Crusher getting slowed. He is just out of range of the Venom Brood, and they are suppressed, so he's not going to take a bunch of damage there. But he is having some issues dealing with this really big shooter blob, especially since with the Venom Brood, it's going to be helping it out, and the Zoanthrope, but he just go ahead and concedes.
Yeah, he just went ahead and GG'd there, so Edtjuh will take that game. And yeah, as you mentioned, it was a good, basically a good setup there that Edtjuh had as far as his force composition went, and the only real possible counter that Caeltos had was to be able to pull out the Heretics into his force composition again there. That was kind of a twofold thing, is that he needed the warship to help stick around, and then he also needed the healing capabilities of the Heretics. Basically, repair, sort of heal, repair. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what you call it, because when they worship a demon, they do a notable amount of healing for it. So basically, when you worship a Blood Crusher, it's considered a demon, and that basically repairs it just through worship.
Yeah, it's how they repair their vehicles, quote unquote.
Yeah, they can also
not really their vehicles. It's weird.
They can also do a straight up repair too if they want.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pega says that he can't. So let's see if we can find another person here. Actually, that Eldar FTW person in the chat has someone. They said that they wanted to play.
If Caeltos had a bit more, resources available, he might have been able to go for the immolation armor, and that would have helped him a bit with the just the fact that Edtjuh was blobbing up pretty hard. That's a pretty good anti-blob ability on the Chaos Lord, but he'd been denied so many resources, there's no real way he was going to be able to afford that.
Yeah, Armor of the Inferno is always nice, but it is one of the more expensive armors in the game at 175 requisition and 35 power, I believe, is the cost it comes out to. So, yeah, definitely, especially with Chaos focusing so heavily on requisition, um, to have to, pay that and then still try to maintain a force and then deal with attrition. So, what we're going to see here actually is a best of 3 at the moment because Pega is a little bit busy. So let's try and get a different map in here.
Yes, please.
So we're seeing Edtjuh is going to stick with random here, pretty confident in his random capabilities. We got Leviathan Hive is what Edtjuh wants here, so I'll go ahead and I'll take Leviathan Hive.
Caeltos says whichever is fine with me. I thought he might have some issues with that one just because it's big. And of course, Chaos Lord does suffer a little bit on the big maps, but he's really good with his heretic worship. If he can keep those heretics alive, make use of the fact that the map is just a little bit laney, keep speed boosting it with his heretics, might not be too much of an issue for Caeltos.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it is big, but it's a little laney at the same time, and you can definitely take advantage of that, particularly as Chaos. I think one of the things we might see on this map might be a little more tempting. Now, again, we have no idea what race Edtjuh is yet.
Yeah, and that's the thing about trying to pick a map to counter the Chaos Lord. You could wind up with a hero that, does even worse than the Chaos Lord on any given map, so... it's kind of an interesting thing, Edtjuh went for Leviathan Hive. If he really wanted to try to screw with the Chaos Lord, he could have gone with Outer Reaches, but then he could have wound up with just like the Space Marine Force Commander or something. So it looks like we're gonna have a Tech Marine for Edtjuh. He's gonna be in the top right. And Caeltos once again gonna be the Chaos Lord in the bottom left. Tech Marine, it's gonna be interesting. Don't see him too much, but he is still usable. A lot of players do prefer to get the Apothecary, because the healing abilities on him are just a little bit more useful. And of course the global vehicle repair in the Tech Marine does 250 health?
250, yeah. It's considered a little overly gimped by some players. It can still be useful, particularly to... Now, I probably shouldn't tell people that, because it really is quite frustrating when it happens. Anyway, so we have not yet told Caeltos exactly what Edtjuh is playing as. Tech Marine not quite as scary as Ravener Alpha in that respect, so
yeah.
we're going to let Edtjuh go ahead and try this, because he may actually be at a little bit of a disadvantage here for having randomed. Whereas last time we've seen Edtjuh's Ravener Alpha, we know he was at no disadvantage whatsoever, so I have no qualms about telling them.
Yeah, I mean, with the Ravener Alpha, it's one of those things where if Caeltos had made the wrong squad choices, he could have just instantly lost.
Yeah.
And that's just no fun for the stream. So, Edtjuh's joking around a little bit, going boom right as his generator calls in, Caeltos saying he heard that. But he will finally see the Tech Marine. He's a little bit too busy actually rumbling with him to comment on that. So he's got a double CSM with a single Heretic squad on the field. It's not going to be the worst thing for him to be using against the army composition of Edtjuh. But, with Edtjuh, with his triple scout squad, depends on what he's going to be upgrading. There's only one shotgun so far, second one on the way. We saw... who was it that we saw doing this with the quad scout squad?
The quad scouts was it was actually Texanius, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to be able to make some effective trades, take out some CSM models, scouts are way cheaper, and that can be definitely worth it.
Well, honestly, I mean, I don't feel that there is any kind of thing going on with trading here as far as triple scouts in this matchup are concerned. As you see, a Devastator is coming out at the moment, and what Edtjuh is going to be looking to do here is to use the scouts to exploit this kind of big... We mentioned that it's a relatively large map. Oh, actually, we have a... My bad. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Devastator's coming out. We have a another Chaos Space Marine coming out for Caeltos. So this is actually a triple CSM build, which I find pretty interesting. I haven't seen too much of that, but remember, we haven't really been able to see that until very recently in the beta, when Relic changed the cost of Chaos Space Marines from 450 requisition down to 400 requisition, which doesn't sound like the biggest of changes, but actually it's quite huge.
Yeah, I mean that's an extra 150 requisition he's saving with a build like this. So the triple CSM, that's going to cause some issues. The Devastator is going to help a bit, but the moment that Devastator isn't protecting his army, he's going to get torn up by the triple CSM with cheap models like these scouts on the field.
We saw a very nice dodge there by the scouts of the Kill the Weak ability there. If he had been able to get Kill the Weak off, he might have been able to go ahead and make a charge on that Devastator with his Chaos Sword, because the Chaos Sword does not be suppressed. The Tech Marine's a little low there, but the Devastator is going to set up in time, force these models off. Meantime, we have the Chaos Heretics upgrade grenade launchers here, so they can go ahead and knock back this Devastator and de-set it up. And low for... Oh, the Scout Squad very low, and we actually have a Sniper Scout over here. A little interesting. A nice counter, quite possibly, though, to this triple Chaos Space Marine build. If he can just snipe a couple of models off of that Sniper Rifle, it should pay for itself pretty nicely. Meantime, though, we are seeing that Caeltos is going to make good use of Warship here. He's threatening to kind of go around either side. In the meantime, we are seeing also a Aspiring Champion go ahead up on this squad here. I'm not sure if this is for detection or what specifically. Usually you get it for extra health, but not entirely convinced that they need it here. We do see that the snipers do manage to snag one Chaos Space Marine model, and that actually has brought one of the squads here down to just one model. This is a little dangerous with a sniper on the field. I'm kind of surprised that Caeltos is not retreating it.
Yeah, Devastator's moving over to try and protect these power gens, but he does have to be careful if he does get hit by the grenade barrage. Cooldown should be coming up soon.
Yeah, oh, we do see the one model is suppressed, and now it's got to retreat right through the gauntlet of this Devastator Space Marine here.
He's definitely got enough health to make it out. There's not really anything else in position to go melee him on retreat, so he's going to get away just fine. The Tech Marine is all by himself. The Havocs are out of range. He is going to want to try and get the Havocs over to protect the Tech Marine.
He's actually getting Bionics. Now, this is a very interesting move by the Tech Marine, but maybe, my bad, particularly by Edtjuh. I shouldn't just say the Tech Marine, right, because the Tech Marine is a person.
Look at this. Like Caeltos able to get over and melee the Devastator after knocking back with the grenade barrage. Now he's meleeing the Tech Marine. CSM going to be able to take some shots as well. Heretics forcing off the Scout Squad. Now it's the CSM and the Heretics versus the Tech Marine. The Tech Marine has no support. He might be forced off here, but
no,
the double
we've got
Scout
Shotgun Scouts coming
back.
in. And actually, so
I
should correct you there. Actually, it is not so much Caeltos who's meleeing the Tech Marine here. It's not Caeltos meleeing Edtjuh, but rather it's the other way around. It's that Edtjuh is actually going in and initiating the melee with this Tech Marine, and that's really the reason why he got Bionics here. It's going to complement these dual shotgun scouts, and now this Assault Space Marine exceptionally well for him to be able to go in there, cause some knockback, and we're seeing this is actually working incredibly well against this triple CSM build. I'm actually kind of surprised here. I didn't expect. It kind of seemed with the triple scouts and then the triple CSM that I would have expected, I should say, Caeltos just kind of roll all over Edtjuh here. That just simply has not been the case yet, though.
Yeah, and Edtjuh actually going for an assault squad on top of everything. So we're at a point where we might have been able to try and just save up for tier 3. He does go ahead and
tier
spend
2,
a bit more power. Tier 2, sorry. And that means that Caeltos is probably going to hit that tier 2 first, as actually, yeah, he's just a little bit ahead. And it's not going to be a big difference, but, you know, Edtjuh, if he throws out any more upgrades,
well, also if
delayed a little bit more.
If he's able to continue to inflict attrition here, we are seeing that Caeltos' requisition is quite a bit lower than Edtjuh's, so Edtjuh will have no issue with requisition. But we may see Caeltos have a bit of an issue with his, in terms of deciding either to cede math control and not reinforce squads, or to go ahead and just get to tier 2. So again, good usage of Warship here, to allow these Chaos Space Marines to get away from these Assault Space Marines. The Assault Space Marines are doing an effective job of forcing out the CSMs. This third CSM squad comes in. Everything is kind of in melee with these ASMs here now, along with the Tech Marine with Bionics. That Bionics choice has proven to be very useful here. It's allowing the Tech Marine to just kind of go in and knock everything back. And again, the Chaos Sword is kind of nowhere near this engagement. This is kind of what you mentioned going into this match, Raelcun, specifically that it's a relatively big map. While it is laney, it is kind of big. So if the Chaos Sword gets caught away from things, he's kind of, it's very tough for him to get back. In the meantime, we did see Caeltos a little late on going tier 2 there, so he will be teching behind Edtjuh in that regard.
Yeah, and if you look at this, Edge is just investing way more in tier 1 here. He's got the triple scouts all with upgrades. He's got the Devastator and the Assault Squad, and still somehow able to beat Caeltos by just a couple of seconds because of all the losses he has been able to inflict on him. So Edge going for a little bit of a riskier strategy with if he hadn't been able to, you know, get some good engagements and force Caeltos to have to spend money, then he probably would have been behind in tier 2 and be in a little bit of trouble. But he was able to play the tier 1 game quite effectively, and still is doing so while he's teching up to tier 2.
And he's bashing some of Caeltos' generators here. And actually he's going to go ahead and maybe just take the node at this point. Yeah, his Tech Marine's going to go ahead and capture it. This is going to be almost impossible here for Caeltos to force this Tech Marine off the node before Edtjuh gets the decapture off, particularly with these dual shotgun scouts here. Anything that gets close except for the Chaos Lord is going to be able to be knocked back. And if Chaos Lord's
the Chaos Lord's taking a ton of damage.
Exactly.
He's actually just going to have to turn around and retreat.
Yeah,
he got completely blown up by the scouts right there.
Yeah, so we see a successful decapture, and then the shotgun scouts going ahead with their explosive shot here. And now the Devastator even is moving in. The Tech Marine is just going to go ahead and do a full capture for himself. But this is not, however, going to stop Caeltos from getting a Blood Crusher out. And in the meantime, Edge's response is a Razorback. Again, though, this is actually probably a good response. We've got the Devastator here. That can be converted to a Last Cannon Devastator anytime. Oh, excellent use of Biotics here by the Tech Marine. Just goes ahead and sweeps away those Chaos Space Marines, giving that Devastator just an extra second or two to go ahead and keep suppressing there. Allows him to get this node up, do a huge power harass on Caeltos.
He upgraded it too.
Yeah.
Oh, so Caeltos is going to have to kill the node before he can grab his generators back, meaning he's just going to get that power income a little bit longer, but more importantly, he's going to be denying it to Caeltos just a little bit longer. I mean, having 6 generators is a little bit overkill. He's going to wind up with more power than he needs, but Caeltos really wants that power right now.
And you know, I think the other great thing about this too is he's got vision of the Blood Crusher now. That's scouting. That's valuable scouting information. He basically has the exact timing now of when the Blood Crusher has hit the field. So in the
Thunder and Lightning.
Yeah, so he's going to have the Assault Space Marines to go ahead and be able to use a Melt-A-Bomb to snare the Blood Crusher, and then he's going to go ahead and have his Devastator Marine Squad, which actually is already loaded up into the Razorback. You can see me trying to click it here. I can't even click it because that means it's loaded in the Razorback. So it's in the Razorback. He's been able to use the Razorback to actually unload the Devastator and to move it around to advantageous locations. At the same time here,
so
we have another...
see if they've got the last cannon. Doesn't look like they do.
Oh, and we also have, I don't really know why the Orbs of the Omniscia went straight down on the Assault Space Marines here. This is actually a huge micro issue.
Oh no, the Razorback!
The Razorback gets hit, oh my gosh. So Edtjuh, with the cast of his one own ability, we see that he admits a very stupid move here. He goes to use the Orbs of the Omniscia. Basically, it's a grenade that will drain the energy and temporarily immobilize vehicles. Now, the problem with this is, though, it drains energy from anything, period. It immobilizes any vehicles. It's not just like affects only enemies. So what he basically did there is he tossed it. It was within radius of his Razorback. It affected it, so it immobilized his Razorback. His Assault Space Marines were walking by, so it took out all of the Assault Space Marines' energy, so they couldn't cast Melt-A-Bomb, they couldn't jump, they couldn't do anything. It just completely wrecked the entirety of Edge's force. It allowed the Blood Crusher to walk right up to the Razorback and destroy it. There was simply nothing that Edtjuh could do after he Orb of Omniscient himself.
Yeah, so basically, if you're wondering, that's probably one of the most epic misclicks you're ever going to see in Dawn of War 2.
Oh, man.
And he got a shrine up over here right by the gen farm. That's going to be really great because he's going to be able to call in Bloodletters here. He's going to be able to get a good gen bash off. Maybe even steal the gens, try and get some of that power back that he lost. And, you know, of course, worshipping right next to this shrine is going to be really nice.
Yeah, so I should point out actually that the reason why all of those bloodletters are there, usually you see only just a couple of bloodletters come out of the shrine. Now the thing is, there were so many bloodletters that came out of there because what Caeltos did was actually build the shrine. So you got the shrine up, you get some bloodletters from that, right? And then he used blood sacrifice on one of his heretics to get a bunch more bloodletters all at once. So he basically just blitzed. My bad, I wish I could speak today, but he blitzed Edtjuh with bloodletters.
Yep. He got like 5 or 6 of those out on the field at the same time. You can see this shrine continuing to summon these bloodletters 2 at a time, just giving him nice control over the space. He did finally upgrade the Devastator's Marine Squad to the last cannon, so he's going to have that anti-vehicle shot that will be snaring targets that it hits, so the Blood Crusher is going to have to be a little bit more careful. I'm wondering why he's not worshipping to heal the Blood Crusher at the moment, because, you know, just standing right next to the shrine isn't quite doing it.
Well, he does seem to be capping, I believe, is going to be a bigger priority for him at the moment. So he's going ahead and doing that. We are seeing that these infiltrated scouts are running out of energy, so they will be visible pretty shortly. But they are still Cyber Scouts, so they're just going to set up here and be very useful. We see a Smite go down, followed by Assault Space Marines jumping in here. They've got... they actually do not have their Sergeant, my bad. Oh, wow, they're in a very dangerous position. They may all go down. They do. They just completely got hit really hard there by the Kill the Weak ability from the Chaos Lord. Just swept around, knocked them back, and the Zeech Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, just went to town on them there. Meanwhile,
yeah, and Caeltos is going to be really careful with the Librarian Last Cannon combo on the field. He's got to make sure that the Librarian can't really veil a time that...
Oh, but speaking of, the Librarian here could probably we have a charge coming up. He's knocked back. The Blood Crusher could get a hit off. He could get one more hit off. He could get it. He gets the Librarian. The Librarian goes down. We have another Orbs of the Omniscient, though. But this Tech Marine is stuck. He's stuck between a Blood Crusher and a Chaos Lord. That is not where you want to be stuck, ladies and gentlemen. That's worse than being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's able to get the orb down effectively that time. But like I was saying, after he loses the Librarian, he's really counting on that being able to veil of time his Devastator squad to instantly shoot the Blood Crusher, be able to snare it and do a bunch of damage. But since the Librarian went down, he basically had no chance after losing the Assault Squad right before that as well. So he's forced to basically instantly concede, as he was bleeding victory points at the same time anyways.
Yeah, so that was man, I just kind of keep going back to that Orb of the Omniscia. I mean,
oh man,
Edtjuh just had that game up until that point. I mean, he really, it seemed kind of weird, you know, the opening and stuff that Caeltos had with the 3 CSM. It seemed like he had the perfect counter, and then Edtjuh was able to use Bionics, and then this force composition with the Assault Space Marines in to kind of start turning around, and then just, oh man, you know.
The problem is that orb, every single bad thing that orb could have done, it did. Like,
yeah.
It immobilized the Razorback. It took all the energy off the Assault Space Marines. It just hit every squad that he didn't want it to hit, and didn't hit any of the ones that he wanted it to hit on Caeltos' side. It was just a really big misclick. Was a pretty big turning point, and we're going to have to see how he's going to react. He's saying he shouldn't have oiled up his body. Costed him the game because he misclicked. So the players are still joking around quite a bit. And since we decided to make a best of 3, we now get to go into a game 3.
Yeah, so it looks like we are going to go with Outer Reaches here because, okay, well now we've got Outer Reaches or Greentooth Gorge or, yeah. Alright, so I think...
So, Caeltos suggesting Outer Reaches while he's playing Chaos Lord. What?
Alright, okay, well they both seem ready here, so we'll go with that, alright.
I don't understand this. This is usually the map that somebody would pick against the Chaos Lord to say, screw you, you're big and slow. But we'll see what Caeltos is going to do here on this map, I guess.
Yeah, actually, I was a little more confused by Edtjuh's response, which was, no, Greentooth Gorge, and then, you know, I just changed it to Outer Reaches to kind of be like, okay, I'll satisfy Caeltos, and then, you know, okay, you know, ready to go, and then I just like, no, Greentooth Gorge, and then like, okay, fine, we're good. And I'm like, okay, what happened here? I thought you wanted that. You don't want that. Ah. But we're not doing Capital Spire 1v1.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What do we, oh, we've got a mirror.
We got a Plague Marine versus the Chaos Lord, so we have a Chaos Mirror.
This will be interesting.
Yeah, the Plague Marine is just a little bit faster, but I mean, look how far
He's actually
out.
not faster. They're both the same speed.
Oh, are they? I thought
they are. Yeah, they're both speed 4.5. I think he might have faster acceleration. I'd have to check. I'd have to look that up, but
yeah. I mean, just look at how quickly the Chaos Lord zooms into the center. You know, because of Caeltos using that worship very effectively, and he's going right after the center power node.
Yeah, he's not even capturing his own first. So he's being rather aggressive here. He should actually very shortly see that there is a Chaos player on the other side of all this. So
yeah, but he hasn't seen the hero yet. Looks like
now he will.
Though.
So
he might have wanted to hold the Plague Marine back and just cap some other things, just because of the fact that he would have seen his chaos. But
very nice job there by Edtjuh in baiting the kill of the week from Caeltos' Chaos Lord. You saw he kind of baited it, he tried it, and he completely missed. And that basically took, if the Chaos Lord could have gotten that off, it would have been able to stay in that battle, maybe cause some damage. But now actually what we're going to see here is that we're going to see Caeltos put up like a kind of a valiant last stand in the middle here, and then he's going to drop off and lose a fair bit of map control because of that battle. He has fewer forces in the map at this point, and particularly with the Plague Marines, Warship allows him to do is it allows him to heal his units. So we're going to see that his Chaos Space Marines are going to have no issue whatsoever winning any kind of straight up battle.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you know, the Apothecary, how he can heal all of his infantry units. The Plague Marine gets a lot of ability to support his CSM with his worship and the other abilities. So Chaos Lord going to be just a little bit behind in the early game because of the fact that Edtjuh, if he makes really good use of his worship and his other abilities, he's going to be able to keep the CSM in the fights much longer and continually push him back across the map until we start hitting tier 2.
So we are, though, seeing a double CSM build here from Caeltos, which is diverging from what Edtjuh is doing. Edtjuh is not using... He's just using one CSM, I should say. And actually, he has no power right now. He's getting the Plague Sword, so we're actually going to be seeing both of the heroes going at it in melee here. That actually you'd think would be good for the Chaos Sword, but the Plague Sword, I swear, is incredibly beastly. Now we got a Heretics fighting with each other here along with the Chaos Sword. But those Heretics need to get out of there, though, because that Plague Sword just chews through Heretics. It basically one-hit kills them, and those one-hit, once those dead Heretics just spawn and start killing other Heretics, it's just not something you ever want to have happen to you when you've got Heretics. You just don't want to be facing the Plague Sword with Heretics. Very, very bad.
Yeah.
So good upgrade time in there.
If you check out Caeltos' squad, he got away with one member. I mean, pretty close call there. If he would have lost his Heretics again, we saw how much that hurt him in game 1. Not being able to use that worship to give the speed boost to his units would have been quite a big issue. But the Chaos Lord's all the way over on the left side of the map. I don't know how he keeps moving around the map so quickly, given how he's so slow. And it's just, you know, I don't know. Caeltos is really good at making effective use of what's normally just a really big, slow, lumbering champion.
Alright, so in other news, Pega is back, guys! Woo!
Ooh, I was wondering why you got all quiet there for a second. He did manage to decap one of the rec points over here. It's not quite the natural one, but it's definitely one of the ones that normally belongs to Edtjuh, and he's able to get over here, decap that, reset the income on that. But this Chaos Lord's really low, and there is a Plague Sword and a lot of units here for Edtjuh, so the Chaos Lord is going to have to run away, and without the support of the Chaos Lord, that means both these CSM have to get out of here as well. So yeah, he's going to get pushed back across the map a little bit as expected here in the early game, but somehow Caeltos is getting his Chaos Lord all the way across the field and being annoying with it. When I would expect, you know, Edtjuh to have Caeltos pushed farther back across the field just with his hero and unit composition at the moment.
Well, I think one of the interesting things here that Caeltos is doing is we actually see no node. Okay, finally a node is going down at his natural power. But basically he's been putting nodes on the two middle power points the entire game. And this has actually kind of forced Edtjuh to go ahead and respond to that. by constantly wasting time with like both of his CSMs, his heretics, to just kind of have units bashing away at these nodes, constantly bashing away at the node, and that takes time, and that is actually kind of compensating a bit for just kind of the whole speed game, right? So in the meantime, we do see Mucus Discharge is out for Edtjuh, but this will allow him to do is use the Breath of Nurgle ability, which is going to allow him to heal the units around him without need of actually having to use any heretics. So it actually does a lot of healing directly on the Plague Champion, which is really great when you've got the Plague Sword because
Plague Champion
but he's
melee from the heretics on
the he goes down. And in the meantime here, we see that these Chaos Space Marines up top here are also in a little bit of trouble. They're going to get meleeed, and the Chaos Sword even goes ahead and gets a kill the weak off on them while they're retreating and can't dodge, so that he's able to get just a little bit more health to stay in the field just a little longer now. And again, we see the Caeltos is going ahead and putting these nodes down on these center power points.
Yeah, that's a really big deal that he killed that Plague Champion, because right after he got Mucus Discharge there, he would have been able to make effective use of both Worship and the I always forget what it's called, the ability on that.
Breath of Nurgle?
Yeah, the Breath of Nurgle. To just continually heal his CSM, just heal his forces, keep them in the fight a little bit longer. And as we can see, he was doing a really good job of consistently dodging Kill the Weak. So he would have just kept his units alive a little bit longer, and in this, like a mirror match like this, when you're able to do that, it just means you're pushing your enemy back. So we would expect him to just have dominated Tier 1 here, just given the fact that he has that healing, but Caeltos is starting Tier 2 faster than him. He took down the hero right when he was thinking about teching up, so that's going to delay that quite a bit. The Chaos Lord is going to get out of there just in time, so he doesn't take any damage over time from the Plague Champion.
Well, there is no damage over time to take anymore because he has taken the bolter out. But I do want to say really quickly that speaking of teching up, Caeltos was right on time with his macro. Again, that's kind of been a little bit of an emphasis of ours just because it's one of those things, there's always room for improvement in your play, and when you're not hitting your macro timings, you're always kind of squandering these little advantages that you have over your opponent. So when you're able to leverage those to their maximum, he got it absolutely right on 125 power. So Caeltos wasted no time on this at all, especially in a mirror. That's just absolutely huge. And I also just wanted to clarify that Edtjuh really, even though he lost his hero there and he did have to spend 250 requisition to get it back, it seems like looking at his economy right now, it ultimately hasn't mattered because he just hasn't had the power to really do what he's wanted to do as far as teching up. He's only right now getting the chance to do that in terms of power. And you can see even with that, he has like 125, 130 requisition when he went ahead and pressed the button. Also, good timing by Edtjuh to go ahead and go to Tier 2. So both players...
Yeah, he hit that pretty much dead on, so that was really good by him. But, I mean, he started that pretty much the moment that Caeltos is finished. Issue is Caeltos doesn't have a whole lot of power because Edtjuh has been bashing those nodes in the center. And this is a really weird strategy by Caeltos, not really building any generators.
Yeah, but then again, though, Chaos tends to not need a ton of power in Tier 2. We are going to see Plague Marines go down from Caeltos here. Macro timing on that a little bit later than we would have liked, especially with Edtjuh attacking to Tier 2 in the meantime. But so it's going to be interesting to see how these Plague Marines are used. They should give Caeltos a lot of staying power that he otherwise lacks, as we are seeing Edtjuh is making a pretty big push here on the map. He's going ahead and upgrading Eternal War on at least one of his Chaos Space Marines here, both of his Chaos Space Marines actually. So it looks like he's going to be intending to focus on his CSMs, perhaps at the expense of looking at different units here. So you may see Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines or Khorne's Chaos Space Marines. I'm not quite sure which. Certainly Tzeentch would be the better choice with Plague Marines coming out. So if he sees them in time, he'll be able to do something about that. But actually, we aren't seeing the Plague Marines really go out here. I don't think here that... that missile may have just tuned Edtjuh into the fact that there are Plague Marines on the field.
If he might have been watching that squad, though. Like, I mean, if you think about it, he's probably doing a lot of things at once, and it's one of those things like, oh my god, he just saw the Plague Marine, but chances are he probably wasn't looking there. Now the heretics are shooting away at them. He's going to see that there are Plague Marines on the field. So maybe that couple 10 seconds of not knowing for sure might make a little bit of a difference. Grenade barrage going down on the Plague Marines, knocking them down. Now that does give enough time for the Plague Champion to get into melee with them. And
they will
that's not
back
something
off
he
from
wants, so they're just going to immediately retreat.
Yeah, so we are going to see they did buy, again, a little bit of time. They forced this Plague Champion, who, again, is not the fastest of commanders.
Oh, look. The CSM are going Corn and Zinch.
Well, this is kind of interesting. Well, the Zeech component will allow him to deal pretty effectively with the Plague Marines. That is kind of the most effective counter to Plague Marines. The issue with melee and Plague Marines is that Plague Marines explode on deaths, they go kaboom, and then everything just, around them just goes, oh no, die, big damage and stuff, and they heal. A lot of range damage then, though, allows them to just kind of be taken out pretty quickly. Now we see a nice Mucus Discharge here by the Plague Champion, allowing him to go ahead and heal himself up before he retreats. And these Grenade Launcher Heretics, though, in a bad spot. But at the same time, you saw these Heretics, they're barely getting out here for Caeltos. And these Plague Marines just kind of sit in the middle here against these Zeech Space Marines. There's not enough support for these Zeech Space Marines. They've got to get out of here. They are backing out.
Yeah, I kind of lost... Oh, the Corn already retreated, so he wasn't really able to make too much use of those. Caeltos pushing Edtjuh back. He hasn't really invested in a whole lot in Tier 2. Here we go, Noise Marines on the field from Edtjuh, or they're on the way.
These actually will probably turn into Blastmasters. I'd assume the intent of the Blastmasters is either going to be to just keep the Plague Marines on their butts, or, well, it could be a bunch of things, but certainly they will help out as artillery and knockback, so...
Yeah, and if you do a good job of force grounding those, which usually a lot of the really good players do, just to micromanage a little bit more, you can knock back a lot of stuff. So there goes Blastmaster upgrade on the way. That's going to finish pretty quickly, and we'll see how well he micros this. Because if you can get a good couple shots in there with it, just that knockback can do wonders.
Yeah, and so we are seeing that Edtjuh is pushing up towards the top of the map, and actually is going to turn around and go middle here. Looks like Caeltos actually just finished a turn of war on these Chaos Space Marines, so he actually... Oh, we're going to go ahead here, and we're going to see Blood Sacrifice. Here come the Bloodletters. They're going to go after these Core and Chaos Space Marines, trying to get some kills in. We see the warship go down, so they can go ahead and get a proper chase in. We've got the Plague Marines back here. They are going to get knocked by... Ooh, wow, those Blastmasters do a good amount of damage to the Plague Marines here, but these Bloodletters may be able to run up to them. Only 2 of them get knocked back. The rest are still running at the Blastmasters. They get to the Blastmasters. The Blastmasters must retreat. They're retreating. These Bloodletters will not be able to catch them, though.
Yeah, so a nice use of Blood Sacrifices. Bloodletters are going to run out in just a minute. Yeah, there they go. And it is one thing to note that the Blood Sacrifice Bloodletters do last a little bit longer than the ones from Straight Up Shrine. Those time out pretty quickly, but you can see the ones before he was able to call in there lasted for quite some time. Their energy does drain just a little bit slower. But the Blastmasters are back on the field.
Oh, very nice micro there. He actually, you saw the Blastmaster attack there, and he recognized that, oh no, his Core and Space Marines were about to be knocked back. The Blastmaster, you must remember, actually does knock back friendly units, so he actually went ahead and retreated his Core and Chaos Space Marines so that they would not be knocked back, and kind of like left for dead, really. If they were knocked on their butts there wasn't much to save them.
Yeah, so I mean, getting that retreat in there in time.
Oh, we have Touch of Nurgle here, though, so every Chaos... Oh, man, every Heretic here that goes down is going to be one that just kind of explodes and could really hurt these Chaos Space Marines. But because they're Grenade Launcher Heretics, they cannot force the explosion. They cannot Doom Blast, therefore they cannot die on command. That's usually where we see the most use for that global ability. But in the meantime here, we have these aspiring champion Chaos Heretics. They're kind of tailing this Touch of Nurgle Grenade Launcher Heretics, waiting for Touch of Nurgle to wear off, and then they're going to engage in melee, where they will have no problem taking the squad out. So Touch of Nurgle is now off of the squad. They do have the chance to go ahead and take them out, but we have some more forces from Edtjuh coming in. Touch of Nurgle does seem to have bought the time.
Barrage, though, to keep them away, so...
Yeah.
Actually, they're going to go up to the top VP, because he's getting a little bit...
This Chaos War is getting low. He tried to go for a kill of the week there to try and get some health before going out, but a great dodge there by Edtjuh's Plague Marine.
Oh,
a very, very low Chaos Lord. 11 health, 8 health. Then he goes back up to 9. He will be able to get back, and we are going to see full upgrades on these dual Zeech Space Marines for Caeltos here, but he's got to back out. We have a Chaos Dreadnought coming out for Edtjuh. We do have Plague Marines out for Caeltos. Those will provide a bit of a counter to the Chaos Dreadnought, but the Chaos Dreadnought is a melee unit. Well, actually, it's kind of melee and or ranged initially.
Yeah.
So you can kind of go either way with it. But, if
they
you
upgrade it further in either direction. So
yeah.
Interesting to see which way he goes with it. But, I mean, if you look at it, he's been doing a good job of knockback, keeping these Plague Marines under control with the Blast Masters. So if he can continue to do that, he might be able to make some good use out of this Dreadnought.
Yeah, I think that is basically his plan, to just kind of control the Plague Marines and then use the Dreadnought against everything else here. These dual Siege Space Marines, he has been doing a fairly good job of controlling, but they are a pretty big danger. So it is one that he does seem to be trying to address. Caeltos is starting to build up a little bit of requisitions. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what he goes for next, because he does seem to have finished upgrading everything that he wants to upgrade at this point in time.
Lightning Claws.
Oh, we're seeing a hug bot. We're seeing a hug bot.
No, on the Chaos Lord.
Yeah, we have Lightning Claws there too, but we have the Hug Bot too, yep.
Oh, yes, we've got Lightning Claws versus the Hug Bot. Oh, who can hug better? We're gonna find out. It's awesome.
It's a hug fest, everybody.
It's a hugging competition. Oh, fun times. So, I didn't see where the Blast Masters were, but I heard them fire somewhere.
Yeah, the Blastmasters are actually over by the power farm here, dueling it out again with the Plague Marines, which seems to be their lot in life. Plague Marines definitely don't want to keep doing that, so they are going to back off. They're going to take a hit in the meantime. Basically, the Blastmasters giving their ass a shove out the door.
Yeah, really good micro there by Edtjuh. You can see he was hitting the Plague Marines while they were trying to run away, which means he probably...
Another touch of Nurgle here. This one is on... Heretics that can actually Doom Blast, so he's going to be able to go ahead and get his damage off when he wants to here. This is forcing Caeltos to retreat, and actually we're seeing a Havoc come out for Caeltos. No doubt that is going to be a Siege Havoc to go ahead and try and deal with this Chaos Dreadnought. I do not believe that is, what Caeltos really wanted to be getting at this point in the game. This does seem to be in pure response to this Chaos Dreadnought.
Yeah, and if you look, that was the last of Edge's red, so he's not going to be able to do that again for a little while. But that time he did do a little bit better job with it, was able to get off a good Doom Blast. He is upgrading Mark of Siege on those Chaos Havocs, so he's going to get the anti-vehicle
oh, actually,
on that.
Oh yeah, okay, my bad. Apologies, it is indeed Mark of Siege, yep. Good call. For a second there, I thought it looked like Mark of Corn. I'm like, nope, wait, that is Mark of Siege. But we do see this Plague Champion's in trouble. It will not get out alive. We had a nice kill the weak cast by Caeltos. Actually ended up knocking him back up onto this little cliff thingy, this little ramp cliff. And he was able to just kind of trap him there and prevent him from getting away on retreat.
Yeah, so, I mean, that last engagement by Edtjuh, he was able to force pretty much a mass retreat with that touch of Nurgle. This time, he's not going to be able to do that again for a little while.
Oh, the Blastmasters dealing huge damage to these Chaos Space Marines here. These Plague Marines are going to try... Oh, but we've got the Bloodlust coming out for the Chaos Dreadnought. It's walking right by... Oh, no, it looks like it's like, oh, I think I'm going to walk right by you, Plague Marines. But no, then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go and try to hug you. Come here. You must hug me.
He just wants a hug. So he does have the Chaos Havoc set up. He's going to get a good shot off on the Chaos Dreadnought. Plague Marines are too busy kiting around the Dreadnought while trying to avoid the Blastmasters at the same time, so they haven't been able to get off a good shot on it.
You do see Blood Sacrifice go down, though. This is, again, a very nice use of that ability. And we are going to see actually very good usage of the Plague Marines here. Their positioning, or actually I'm not really sure what's better usage there, but just so happens that the way the Plague Marines are positioned, the Core and Chaos Space Marines possibly trying to go after the
Dreadnought's in a lot of trouble. He took another shot from the Havocs, and now there's the double Zinch Marines here who are going to be able to do a little bit more AV damage to him, so he has to get the hell out of here with Bloodlust. He's at 130 health.
But this Plague Marine squad is down to one model. It's very low health. This Chaos Dreadnought may be able to take him out on retreat, but no, he's snared. He goes down.
Oh my god, those Chaos Havocs, they're just shooting at that Dreadnought the entire battle, really able to make the difference, barely able to save those Plague Marines. Edtjuh really needed to try to get something over there to force those into melee, but Caeltos was pushing back all of his melee squads at the same time. He was able to force off the Noise Marines. So, Caeltos doing a good job of holding on there, but as you can see, he's only got the one victory point, and he is getting rather low on his VPs. So even though he had a really good engagement there, he's getting low. He needs to make something happen here, and he got his victory point decapped there He might be trading the squad for it, though. Oh!
Yep, that squad goes ahead and goes down. So this is a very key point in this game. I'm rather surprised to see Edtjuh go ahead and lose that heretic there. A little uncalled for, if you ask me, because at the moment, oh, but what is this here? We have a 1 out of 8 heretic squad going up and warshipping. Oh my, I mean, apparently sensing that it's alright to do such because most of Edtjuh's forces are retreating, but wow, very dangerous there. And here comes the Blastmaster, these bunched up. Each Space Marine just kind of running into it. Maybe they're going to try and get up in melee. They don't quite manage. Oh, actually going ahead and hitting the Plague Marines there. Victory points here, very, very low for Caeltos.
Hey. Like, that was an interesting decision to shoot the Plague Marines, because the shot actually knocked back some of his own forces, because it passed directly through his squad.
Yeah, luckily though, they did seem to be relatively close to fall off. Let me see, again, this Chaos Heretic here. One model in the entire squad, no fear whatsoever of being wiped. Caeltos is going around, he is recapturing these victory points, and as I was kind of saying before, this is a key point in the game now, because Edtjuh did go ahead and he went to tier 3. He had the economic advantage, and actually he's kind of regained it at the moment. But you know, he lost some key units. He's lost a key portion of his force composition, and then he squandered. I don't want to say squandered, but we'll see what he comes out of it.
Ooh,
But
a Pred. He's got a Predator on the way, and this is really dangerous. Like, going for the vehicle solution in tier 3 when there's still Plague Marines and the Siege Havocs,
yep.
and the double Siege Chaos Marines. Like, I don't know. This is pretty dangerous. Icon of Corn coming up for the Chaos.
Oh, he may be able to, although he goes for the cap here. It looks like he's going to try and bleed down the victory points. Now, yeah, if he goes for the Corn Chaos Predator here, they'll give him a fast little tank that'll be able to go around the map here and kind of help with this map control, maybe bleed down these 76 victory points here that Caeltos has. That is the biggest issue facing Caeltos right now. We see that Siege Havoc in a bit of trouble. It's got to get out of there, and it is getting out of there.
Okay, so nothing upgrading on the Predator.
Ooh, we've got a Blood Crusher coming out for Caeltos.
Yeah, so, I mean, Caeltos has a lot of AV on the field, and there's not a whole lot on the other side of the field for Edtjuh. His only way to be able to deal with the Blood Crusher is really going to be
the tank coming out, yep.
The tank, so he's going to have to take very good care of it. As you were saying, he might want to go for the Marker Corn just to make it faster so he can keep it mobile.
And we've got this single model Heretic. He's going to go for that victory point on the left side here.
What is this global again? He just removed all the sight, like, on the field.
Oh, Malignant Blindness?
Yeah. As you can see, just Edtjuh losing all of his ranged sight on the field for a few seconds. It's going to allow him to get his Blood Crusher a little bit more into position before he reveals it.
Oh, this Heretic gets the decap off, but has got to get out of there. He doesn't want to lose another Heretic. Oh, we have another Chaos Predator coming out for Edtjuh. He is kind of in a position at this point where he's just going to crank those Predators, I suppose. Not a bad move. We are seeing this Blood Crusher is going to try and work on map control here for Caeltos, but Caeltos just not in the position he wants to be here in terms of victory points. He's down to 16. I don't see him being able to pull this out with the kind of just the nice little composition here that Edtjuh has for being able to pressure the map. But we'll see.
Yeah. If Edtjuh can hold on to his natural victory point to just park some tanks on the top one with some good supporting units, he's just going to be able to bleed Caeltos off without there being much for him to do. He needs to get the decap on this top point.
Oh, but now this tank is in serious danger here. We've got Plague Marines, we got a Blood Crusher coming in, we have the mark of Siege Havoc. Everything is getting stuff off there. The Plague Marine rocket, though, hits the terrain, but the Blood Crusher is still on and it goes down!
Oh, look at this. Caeltos stops the countdown with 1 victory point left.
And he's got a fortified position up top. We also have a battle on the bottom, though. If this Plague Champion is able to get a decapture off on this main point, he will be able to get that 1 point go down. But at the same time here, it's going to be very tough for him to do that. Oh, he actually uses Mucus Discharge. He's going to get there. Caeltos has got to do something here. This is really where Drain Life would come in handy, but he does not have the armor equipped.
Start meleeing him. Like, what are the Heretics doing? They could have got up there. Oh, he kills the Plague Champion.
Kills the Plague Champion. I think he just had a good sense of what his Chaos Lord was capable of there, and he just went ahead and let him do it. So we are actually seeing Armor in the Inferno go down now. which is kind of the opposite of the armor I'd expect. But, you know, I guess at this point, having killed the play champion, maybe not expecting him back immediately, although we see Edtjuh has plenty of resources to force that issue. Perhaps Caeltos here is thinking that let it go. Some going to work. Oh, but we have, again, blood sacrifice coming down. Here come these bloodletters. They're going to go straight for the Chaos Predator. Although, actually, no, they're going to settle for the Noise Marines instead.
He's able to force off the Noise Marines. The bloodletters probably aren't going to make it into the Predator because of that decision to go after them first. But you can see he's doing
But he's got the Plague Marines coming up behind here. And actually, they're just going to go for the point cap.
Yeah, they've just been capping everything because of the fact that they're high HP. They heal each other when one model goes down, so they're actually his best ninja capping squad on the field right now. He is able to decap the last point that Edtjuh has on the field.
And he's
so
going
to one victory point. If he can grab this, he's going to start the triple countdown on Edtjuh. Could you imagine if he makes this comeback? I mean, it's going to be very difficult. He's going to have to keep his squads in excellent positioning. If he has to retreat too many squads for even just a minute, he could wind up just instantly losing. Plague Marines are going to start retreating their 3 of 4 members. If they lose one more, the other 2 will heal, so they should get out. But he's got the triple countdown going down on Edtjuh, and he's got Edtjuh backed up all the way to his base. So Caeltos, you know, does have the possibility of making something happen here. Blood Crusher died.
Oh, but we've got Imperial Abyss going down. This is actually going to take maybe a whole squad, possibly. It definitely takes. Oh man!
Oh, but the Chaos Lord retreated right through it.
Yeah, and this Chaos Space Marine goes down too. Oh man, that global very well position goes ahead and sets it up so the Chaos Lord goes down because it completely took out his fire support, which is what is allowing him to go ahead and tank what he needed to there. Because basically Edtjuh had to keep his forces just a little bit back, and the rage that you're hearing right now is from Whiplash, but it may be what you're hearing from Caeltos as well after that successful global nuke.
The top point, if he can get it's game. Caeltos cannot allow him to get any points right now. He doesn't have anything in position except for his Chaos.
Oh, he's got blood sacrifice. This may allow him to do it here. This may allow him to hold, but we see Touch of Nurgle. Touch of Nurgle is going to be the perfect counter here.
Oh, he's so close to finishing the cap. He needs to try and knock back the Chaos Space Marine squad somehow. The Havocs went down. The Bloodletters are too busy hitting the other squads. He's going to finish the cap, and that's game.
Yeah, Caeltos recognized there that he was not going to be able to deal with the Chaos Space Marines with the Touch of Nurgle on them. And so he just kind of refocused his efforts on the play champ in there, I guess in the hopes of maybe being able to get something else up there, but unfortunately just not capable of it.
Wow, that game was just a little bit insane.
Oh man. I'm still I really thought he had a chance of coming back there with just the one victory point, but Edtjuh doing a good job there of not being perturbed by just that really strong push by Caeltos and shoving it back and then going straight for the top point, just going straight for the killing blow, not allowing any time there for Caeltos to regather his forces. Yeah.
Caeltos in chat, geez Louise. That's a pretty good summary of that last game there. It got pretty insane. I mean, he was making a pretty good play at the comeback with the one victory point. If he'd been able to do that, oh my god. Like, I mean, consider the fact that he was down to one victory point and Edtjuh was at like 300, and he ticked him all the way down to 160. So that right there is pretty impressive in and of itself. Caeltos making a last stand, and he had him, you know, counting down by 3 for quite some time. Edtjuh was able to, you know, make effective use of what he had on the field, drop a couple really nice globals. Oh my god, the nuke there, man. He actually was able to force the Chaos Lord to retreat, and then he just dropped the nuke on all the supporting units, so that the Chaos Lord retreated right through it and got taken out as well. And that right there is probably what won him the game.
Yeah, I mean that because it forced off the Chaos Space Marines, which basically it didn't allow them to then go ahead and support top. because if they had been able to stay in that fight, even if they hadn't won the fight, they were. If you saw the positioning where they were kind of in the middle section of the map, and that kind of allowed them to go kind of between and support that far left point or support the top point. Problem is, when you get annihilated by a global nuke, you can't really support much of anything.
Yeah, everything that survived the nuke had to retreat. So he had absolutely no way of getting his units up there to support the top victory point because the map is so big. And Edtjuh took great advantage of that, set everything up to the top, just put everything on taking that victory point. Because as you can see, if you can get it, he just instantly wins with the one victory point left for Caeltos.
Let's see here. We're going ahead and trying to get Texanius in here. Believe he expected this to be a little earlier, so I hope that he didn't go away in the meantime. Unfortunately, that game was so epic that it went a little longer than I actually expected it to, and kind of cut a little bit into the time that Steve Budd and Texanius were supposed to have. But
It was quite entertaining though. Kind of going against my expectations of how that match would play out, with the fact that you'd expect the Plague Marine to have the advantage early on in that match with, the worship from his heretics and the Plague Discharge, or the
Mucus
Discharge.
Breath of Nurgle, yeah.
Yeah, you'd think that he'd be able to just make a little bit more effective use out of his tier 1 units in that matchup, but Caeltos is just like, you know what, I play Chaos all the time. I can still beat you back here in tier 1. And then, of course, Edtjuh won in tier 2, where you'd expect Caeltos to make usage of his worship to gain an advantage. So things just kind of getting a little bit crazy there. We had unit counters coming out that you don't see a whole lot, like the Blastmaster Marines, which, I mean, Edtjuh made an amazing job of using those Blastmasters, like he said in chat. Pretty much wound up winning him the game just by continually using those to great effect.
Yeah, sorry, I would love to comment on that. I'm just trying to go ahead and sort of do a little bit of reorganization here. I'm going to look to see, probably actually have Steve Budd and Edtjuh go at it again. They went at it, I believe, on Wednesday. No, not Wednesday. Tuesday? Probably Tuesday, yeah. We see Steve Budd here is not too confident here, so I'll give him map choice, actually.
Yeah, and one thing about those Blastmasters is I continually saw Edtjuh force ground attacking with them. Like, he'd be hitting us, going after a squad that was running away, and he'd ground attack behind them, so that he hit them dead on. Of course, with those types of firing abilities, if you just right-click on the squad, quite often they do wind up missing and not doing optimal damage. But Edtjuh was doing a really good job of microing that every time I was watching that squad.
Yeah, he put those Blastmasters to really effective use, and I don't really think that we saw Caeltos come up with anything that really made them ineffective, I guess I should say.
It's tough to make them ineffective, though. Their range is so long. They've got that great knockback.
Well, I mean, I suppose we could have seen regular Bloodletters that didn't come from Blood Sacrifice.
Yeah, maybe teleport right on top of them.
So right now we have Edtjuh actually was ready, de-readied, and said
telling Steve Budd to pick his main race.
So I'm not sure if Steve Budd went random because he actually wants to random, if he just saw Edtjuh random and went, oh, I'm going to random too. So now actually they're both going to random. So we're going to go ahead and watch some double random.
Across the sky.
Oh yeah. So we're going to see, I'm really interested to see what they both random into. I'm always interested to see
Watch
what...
it randomly be another mirror. Calling it.
I always love seeing what random produces because I tend to find it usually is not that random. But if Edtjuh actually gets 3 different heroes today, well, actually, my bad, 4 different heroes, I will be impressed. especially if he gets 4 different races. He's been in 3 different races so far, so Random been doing a decent job so far.
Yeah, of course, random is a little bit easier to get different results with, and Dawn of War 2, just because there's more things to hit with so many races and the 3 heroes per race. So it looks like we're going to see completely different from Edtjuh. He's going to be a mech boy, and starting off with Shooter boys on the other side of the field, we've got Steve Budd as a Farseer. Don't see the Farseer out in action too much from Eldar, but he's going to start off with a pretty standard Banshee opening. And we'll see how he's going to react when he sees the orcs.
Yeah, this is, again, pretty interesting because, like I said, random, not always very random, but in this case, we see that a 4th race has come out with a different hero now for Edtjuh. He's had to change up his game every single time here, and he's won 2 out of 3 games so far. But he's going to have to contend with Steve Budd's main race. Then again, though, he was contending with Caeltos' main race the entire time.
Yeah, he's going for the double shooter, which of course pretty common. You know, never see that opening from orcs at all. And you know, the question from Steve Budd is: he going to go for the quick rangers? Is he going to go for the shuri? You can see a little bit of both in the matchup, especially since normally you don't see the Farseer too much. It's usually Warp Spider, Exarch, or the Warlock. But these days it's Warp Spider, Exarch constantly. Really curious to see how Steve Budd's going to make usage of this hero.
Well, she definitely has her high points. Probably her highest point is, no doubt, got to be the webway gates that she has, which allow her to cloak units around them. But we have Burn of Sluggus here with these Guardians in the garrison. They're going to have to get out of here. But actually, they're not retreating. Steve Budd bringing the Farseer over. Oh, now they will retreat, actually. They actually probably didn't have to retreat, though. That Farseer, I think, would have been enough to force the Slugga boys off. And I think at that point, we would have seen the Guardians able to turn around and deal some range damage. Ooh, a little bit of lag here from Steve Budd. Or, well, it says Steve Budd on my screen. My apologies if it's not actually Steve Budd. We have Howling Banshees coming out here with aspect of the Banshee, so we're going to see a bit of an investment in them.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, going for the Howling Banshee like upgrade instantly, as opposed to a lot of players liking to wait and get their 3rd squad out first. He's going to delay that just to get the aspect of the Banshee, give them the fleet of foot and their War Shout ability. So
yeah,
right now they're just across the field capping. So
yeah, what it also does for him though is it allows him to beat the Burn of Sluggas in straight up melee combat. Otherwise, there is kind of like this chance that if you WOG, and a decent enough chance that for the price difference, you really don't want to lose your Banshees over it. So we're actually going to see this combat is going to come into play, especially as this capping squad, but I'm not... Okay, so these Banshees actually don't want to engage, interestingly, but then again, they've got Farseer support here, so why... I guess, you know, why bother engaging there if you don't have to?
I think it's because of the fact that the Slugga's got a good amount of damage off on those Banshees while they're finishing the cap. As you can see, they're down about 200 health. And even though like they can win a straight up fight minus the 200 health, he wasn't completely sure about it. So he's just waiting for the Farseer to come in and support. If he can force off the Burn of Sluggas, he might be able to go after a generator or 2 with the Farseer and the Banshees.
He's actually going to go ahead and defend his own generators. We have a WOG banner being placed right by them. Very confident move here by Edtjuh, although actually not necessarily. This WOG banner doesn't have to be a lasting WOG banner or anything, so we are going to see actually these big shooters get suppressed from fleet of foot, and then oh, but now here goes the WOG banner. This is why it's here. This is gonna be really dangerous for these Banshees. They're trying to retreat.
The Banshees.
They're really low though. They're getting meleeed, and they are they're so low. But grenade spike, excellent grenade spike. Now puts one of the shooter squads in danger. It's got 11 health, 10 health. And it's going to be able to get out with
kill from the Farseer saves the squad. Oh my god.
And now we've got a mech boy in a building. But the Shuriken is probably going to put a relatively quick end to that. So yep, he's going to go ahead and jump out. And he's going to teleport onto the platform. Nope, he's just going to go around the other side, do some damage to the Farseer while she goes ahead and takes us down. You see Armor of Fortune coming out for her. That's going to allow her to use the Fortune ability, which is basically a damage reduction ability, but the armor itself also gives her plus 0.5 health regeneration, which basically means she regenerates health 0.5 health per second faster than usual.
Which isn't a whole lot, but given the fact that the passive health regen in this game is actually extremely slow, that's actually pretty good.
Oh, and the mech boy goes down as he's getting out of the building to try and get away from the Shuriken cannon team, but actually 0.5 health regen is metric ton.
Yeah.
to not finish that. But the commando knob used to have zero point 0.5 with extra equipment, and that combined with a few other things was just a little too much. So he has 0 0.3 now. Armor Fortune and I believe the Tech Marines Artificer Armor, I think, are the only two that still give 0.5. I think just about everything else has been toned down because 0.5 actually is so much. So we do see the Farser in the middle here is under assault by dual big shooters. She's being held down by aiming what's that, but she is trying to get there. But no, another aiming what's that's going to hold her off here alone. Oh, she may be able to get in melee, but this is still going to be
get out of
yeah,
here.
she does get out. So she maybe buys some time, but she's going to have to stay at base a little bit longer too. So I don't really know what good that did her.
Well, I mean, she does have the armor, which we were just talking about as well. So maybe just using that to get in there, buy some time, keep him away from the victory point,
That's
be able
true.
to hit back base, heal up a little bit, and then get a lot of it back just by running back onto the battlefield. Mech Boy is still down. As we can see, Edtjuh opting to go for tier 2 as quickly as possible. That does delay him reviving the Mech Boy just a little bit, but he is going to be able to go for it any moment now. There it goes.
Yeah, so he will get the Mech Boy up here, and he does actually have the Daka upgrade, which basically gives him decently... oh, but the Shuriken running right into the midst of the big shooters here. A little bit of a mistake here from Steve Budd. The Shuriken's got to get away from those big shooters. We're going to see these Banshees are going to move in. They're going to try and whale and prevent these big shooters from firing, but they've got to, again, consider getting... I probably don't have to consider getting out of here because these shooters are in a lot more trouble than the Banshees are. They are going to use aiming what's that to kind of keep them down a little bit, but not too long. We're going to see the second shooter squad have to retreat. They're getting a couple more kills off on the shooters here now. Ooh, these shooters not retreating very nicely here, taking more damage, more damage.
Yeah, they're kind of getting stuck on each other and the terrain a little bit. Just some bad pathing there by the shooters allows the Banshees to take out a couple more models. You can see the Banshees, they sort of look up at the Mech Boy and they realize there's no way they can get into combat with him because he has almost full energy, and that means he can just teleport anywhere whenever they get anywhere close. So they're just going to retreat, get their health back up. Tier 2 on the way for Steve Budd.
And Edtjuh's already there and making a war truck.
Okay. Ooh, war truck very quickly from Edtjuh is going to cause some problems for Steve Budd, as he has actually absolutely no AV on the field. It's going to take him a while to get a decent amount out as well, because you look at his resources, he doesn't really have enough for anything. I guess his only hope is going to be able to try and get 50 power for a...
Wow, Edtjuh's going very vehicle. Nope, he cancels the Death Dread. He was going to go for a Death Dread, but then he went ahead and canceled that. He would have probably been able to pull it off, but...
yeah, Steve Budd doesn't even have enough red to call in an Autark at this point. So
no, but he does have a Banshee Exarch out, well, not out, but queued up. So he would have some soft AV there, and then all it really takes after that is a Warp Spider squad. So, and a Warp Spider is in production, so we can see probably a smart choice overall. We see this Shuriken in a spot here where it's not really doing anything. It is actually just going to go up and into the building here, and the Banshees do have their Exarch upgraded now. They are kind of sitting here, and the Warp Spider is building. They still can't really push this War Truck, and we're seeing the Banshees being a little bit afraid to push anything else here at the same time. Weird Boy, much safer choice coming out from Edtjuh now. And,
yeah, I actually like that choice a lot. He gives a lot of really good supporting abilities to the army of the Orcs. The Warp Vomit, of course, being amazing against any infantry. He has a couple other abilities you can upgrade, but even if it's just the
oh, we are going to see the usage of these gates here. They're going to go ahead and cloak the incoming Banshees. We're going to see maybe a Haywire. Haywire's on the truck. Banshees suppressing everything. If they get the Exarch on the truck, they may be able to take the War Truck out, but these Warp Spiders in a bit of trouble here from Burna Sluggus, and these Banshees were go ahead and suppress, but they are going to go and get some hits on the truck here, which is still moving. So he's trying to get a Warp Vomit off. He doesn't get it off in time.
Oh yeah, he isn't quite able to get that Warp Vomit down in time. It's an excellent ability, basically stunning anything and any infantry, but it doesn't stun your own infantry as well, which is why it's so amazing. You can drop it right on top of a blob of your own units that has Banshees on top of it. It'll only stun the Banshees. It's an amazing ability. but he wasn't quite able to get that down fast enough.
Oh, we are going to see Gravity Blade.
Ooh, nice
come here.
zap, followed up by his just knockback from his regular attack. That's going to do a good amount of damage to the Guardians and
that
force them
zap
off.
won't do too much though, as there's nothing for it to spread to. And actually, I'm not quite sure why Steve Bud retreated there. Retreating usually is one of the worst things you can do when you're zapped, because when you retreat, you lose control completely of those retreating units, which means they're very likely to run into other units, zap them, and just basically the more stuff that gets zapped, the more zap is ultimately going to do to you.
Yeah, for people who, of course, still don't know, it basically just does damage over time and jumps to another squad when it runs out, if there is one available. There's no limit on it being able to jump back and forth between the same squads. So
Actually, I think they kind of put it used to be like a little bugged out. It won't sit there and jump back and forth between the same two squads, but if you have it like jump to like one squad then another, like basically it won't jump back to the squad that it was just on, but it will jump back to the same squad if it jumps to like
if there's a third squad available.
Yeah, so if you have like if you have squads A, B, and C, it'll jump from A to B, and then B to C, and then it can jump back from C to A, but it will not jump from B to A. If you know, from A to B and then B to A, I don't believe. We do have a shooting out coming out here to deal with these gates here, but nonetheless, just a little late to prevent these Banshees from getting in melee.
They're going to have to upgrade teleporting in as well, doing a bunch of damage, forcing everything off. As you can see, Edge is getting pushed back quite a bit. He's got a lot of his stuff over here dealing with just the Farseer at the moment. But after having to retreat a lot of that, there goes a nice Warp Vomit hitting everything in the area.
Ooh, and we're seeing combination with, the stick bombs. So that only really takes about one Banshee. Banshee's somewhat durable enough here to kind of weather these stick bombs. I feel like these stick bombs are rather interesting. That was a weird retreat path. There, you definitely wouldn't expect them to go that way. And it goes right, the perfect way for some more stick bombs, taking out another model. As we can see, though, as far as red goes, that isn't too helpful for Edtjuh, as stick bombs now cost, I believe, like 16 red per toss, as opposed to they used to cost like 8 or something.
Yeah, and stick bombs are one of those interesting grenade units because of the fact that grenades always wander a little bit when you throw them over a long distance. But since you're throwing so many of them at the same time, it winds up being much worse over long distances than most grenades.
Oh, he's going to try and get this Farseer, but nope. She gets out alright, and actually one of the stick bombs goes down. So now this Guardian squad is going to go ahead and focus down this mech here, and they've got him bolted on. The mech's got to watch out. He doesn't watch out, and he goes down because of it. Meanwhile, we have a Shuriken behind a shield here. An energy shield, and it's just these shooters here just staying in combat with it.
Bitch, he's cloaking and running right in. Some of them get caught by the Warp Vomits. That does stop the squad. They're not going to be able to charge in until that stun does wear off.
Yeah, it was a good covering Warp Vomit, but we did see that the choice to remain engaged for so long with that Shuriken just kind of standing behind the energy shields there actually did cost the shoot a knob of the one squad. Which ultimately screwed over the detection there, and was why those Banshees were able to get in where they were in the first place.
Placement war truck on the field, but here comes another webway gate. He's going to drop this over here on the left side. He really wants to just try and control both of these victory points with the webway gates. There's nothing over here from Steve Bud. Like, there's nothing to stop Edtjuh from just killing this gate. Since he has nothing supporting it at the moment.
But he's got to be able to see it. It is cloaked at the moment, so he's got to be able to get a detector over there. He's got to just kind of walk right into it. In the meantime, we do see that the Weird Boy here is researching bigger brains.
Oh,
the levitation field does not catch the Weird Boy, so he is going to be able to get out. But bigger brains will allow the Weird Boy to use over there, which basically will allow him to toss units or wherever, just literally throw them at places. It's kind of like if you've seen the Warlock's Warp Throw, except with your own units.
Yeah, and it's an interesting ability because it can be used both offensively and defensively. You can grab a unit and throw it out of trouble, or you can throw your melee squad directly on top of their closer to their range units. So he's going to be able to use that quite nicely, deciding which way he wants to use that. And in combination with the war truck, maybe able to get those the sluggas or the stick bombers into good position. If he makes good use of those two abilities, he's going to be able to do a good job here. Banshee's once again charging in with the
Oh,
cloak.
this is a little bit of a micro mistake if you watch the warp spiders here. These warp spiders just kind of sitting here because they were cloaked by the webway gate.
Oh, levitation field!
Oh, wow. This is going to allow them to do a lot of damage to the warp spiders. They are going to... Oh, man, that levitation field did quite a bit, actually. The warp vomit tried to stop some of the... Oh, a foot of gore coming down on the shuriken cannon platform. Because it's retreating, it takes almost no damage there. Actually, I think there's a little something with the energy shields, too, that also decreases damage from that kind of stuff. I'm not quite sure what the deal is with it, but it kind of counts as cover for it.
Yeah, so you can see Edtjuh is going to be able to force him out of the center. This his sword truck is pretty low. He probably wants to try and get the sluggas to repair that just a little bit.
But Edtjuh's got to be careful here. We've got these Guardians decapturing the victory point on the left side, and Edtjuh is at about 42 victory points. And now we got these Banshees right on top of these Slugga boys here. Oh, they may be able to wipe the squad. They are able to wipe the squad, and now they're after the truck.
Yeah, he almost had a reinforce from the truck. If, like, he hadn't retreated just a half second later, another model would have popped out, and he might have been actually able to save that squad. Just a little thing there. The war truck will barely get away, and the Banshees do see the weird boy, and they are going to have to get the
now
hell
watch out for this zap here. Those war spiders need to teleport. They don't teleport. And so now instead they're going to retreat. Now they're going to retreat on top of the Farseer. Oh, this is why you do not retreat a zap squad. You do not know where that zap is going to go.
Oh, it almost got onto the shuriken platform as well, but just barely missing. Here comes the levitation field again. He's making good usage of this just to continually pick up squads, but he did miss the second shoot a squad. So he actually took a lot of shooting damage while he was doing that. He wanted to try and get both of the shoot-a boys with the levitation field, just to sort of take them out of the equation for a little bit.
Well, he does seem to be just looking to buy time here, and that certainly did buy some time. He's getting a fire prism on the field. That will allow him to really knock back this range blobs. He won't have to engage the weird boy as directly.
And the war truck is going to die if it comes anywhere near that.
Yeah. It's already very low. This weird boy, though, is in a lot of trouble. He gets the warp vomit down, but warp spiders have warping in behind him. They're going to go ahead and try to take him out. He still has just a little too much health for that, though.
Yeah, but this warp prism, or fire prism, excuse me, doing quite a bit of damage. That's the wrong game for the warp prism. And he's able to completely force Edtjuh out of the center. He's got his Guardians with their Warlock down at the bottom, going after the stick bomb.
Stick bombers versus Guardians.
Speed of foot, completely avoiding the stick bombs. He had him active there for a little bit, but it actually does wear off. But he is still able to force the stick bombers away.
Ooh, I'm really
after this victory point.
That is GG. I'm really surprised that they retreated the stick bombers there. Though they actually are pretty good melee units. Their melee skill rating is very high. Melee skill, for those of you that do not know, is basically what controls when the unit does those special attacks. It causes knockback and stuff. Stick bombers have very high melee skills, so a lot of times they will go in and just start knocking stuff back, and their knockback attack is pretty good. I believe that will be all for today, though. We saw that Seabud was able to take that game despite being pushed really hard, really early.
Yeah, it was a really close game. Edtjuh was able to do a lot of damage early on, but Steve Budd did a lot of good work with his Farseer and the Warp Spider squad, as well as using those webway gates in the center. Like just continually charging in with the Banshees, hitting Fleet of Foot, getting the cloak, then running in as close as they can with that concealment right on top of the blob. Was able to get really close on top of a lot of squads and suppress them repeatedly. Just using the Banshee and the webway gate combination. So it was really well done by him.
Yeah, and that is definitely one of the big things that the Farseer has going for her are those gates, which allow her to, as you guys saw, cloak and give a bit of a speed boost as well to units, friendly units nearby. So they're just going to be able to run by the gate and then just activate the ability, get the boost, kind of go out, and it forces your opponent to get detection and to really just have to deal with a lot of nasty stuff.
The issue is he kept losing the knobs, so he actually kept losing his detection and wasn't able to do with it. A little bit of luck on Steve Budd's side there, able to continually kill the knobs a couple times in a row, and make those Webley gates just a little bit more effective.
Yeah, there's also seen to be really big targets in melee consistently, just because of the way their pathing is. Literally, I think things can't path around the knobs, so they just end up being like, oh, if you can't path around it, I'll kill it. And
Yeah.
so that's why I think one of the reasons why we see that the knobs died so much there, and do in general die very much. A lot of people complain about scout sergeants and stuff. Shooting knobs are right up there for. Actually, any kind of knob is kind of right up there for dying a lot, except for probably the slugga knobs nicely. A fair bit nice, durable. Tends to be the one I find that dies the least
Except
somehow.
for the knob squad. There you go. There's
Yeah.
the knob that doesn't die.
But so that should be just about all for today. Went ahead and gave you guys some show matches as opposed to an unfortunate. I want to get a little bit more done with the round robin today. But we had just such an epic show match there between Caeltos and Edtjuh on Outer Reaches that we just couldn't possibly cut away from that to go and get Texanius and Steve Budd in the game. So
there's no way that we can just sort of leave that game when Caeltos is going for the one victory point comeback. I mean, that's impossible.
We decided to go ahead and stick with that, and so we'll work on getting the round robin completed next week. And by the way, I really want to thank Raelcun for filling in for Locker all week. And actually, I'd like to extend the offer to you if you'd be interested next week, maybe doing triple caster presentation with us for whenever we're able to go ahead and do the rest of those round robin games, because it should have been done this week, right? So I figure, I don't know if you would like to join us for that and carry on the torch of this week into next completely.
Yeah, it'll depend on the schedule. I have to look that up, so I'll you back with that. So thanks for having me on board. It was fun. Of course, you guys can catch me on the IC Cup TV channel, the normal one, IC Cup TV, with no number after it. Most days of the week at 7 p.m. Eastern, just doing StarCraft 2 stuff, which is why I actually called it. What did I? Oh, I called it a warp prism instead of a fire prism. Of course, that's the wrong game. Oops.
So other than that, I just wanted to quickly go back to we were talking about this at the start of Wednesday's cast, but the Game Replays Open Season Tournament series is officially announced now. We kind of broke it to you before anyone else could break it to you, but Game Replays has gone ahead and posted all the information for that up on the main Dawn of War 2 portal of the site, www.gamereplays.org. Just go ahead and go there. You can go to the Dawn of War 2 section, or you can actually put /Dawn of War 2 at the end of the URL. Go ahead and there's a main news post, a main announcement that basically has everything you need to know and links off to everything you need to know there. Registration is up until I believe Wednesday the 23rd at noon Eastern Standard Time. So you basically, I would highly recommend getting your registering done by Tuesday. Yeah. And IC Cup will be contributing to the casting for that event. So it's going to be actually 3 groups will be casting, I believe. Game Replays itself will have a stream. IC Cup will have a stream, and we will also working on this with Old Blood and Guts right now, but there should also be a Learn to Play Dawn of War 2 stream as well. So big cross-community involvement for that. So
that's really good.
We'll definitely be talking about that every day, because I believe a lot of you guys here should probably be signing up for that. It's one of those things where it looks scary at first, but it's a big 128 player tournament. I know even like Ninja Butter and like my roommate and stuff are signing up, and those are kind of players who are still very good players and stuff. Not to diss them at all, but you kind of look at them initially and you're like, oh, I wouldn't think that they would be able to win the tournament, but it's a good experience, good learning experience, and you never know what might happen.
Yeah, and if you think you're doing all right in Dawn of War 2 and just trying to get better, one of the best ways to figure out what some of your weaknesses are is have somebody like Edtjuh or Caeltos just completely bash you in a couple games, so you can go back, look at the replays, and it's a pretty good way of saying, oh, I really need to improve this because he was punishing me for it repeatedly. And even if you're not the best, if you run into somebody really good in the tournament, It's not like that's a bad thing. You can get some good learning experiences out of it.
Yeah, and definitely, I think I don't want to make any promises yet, but at the daily we're always looking for replays. So tournament replays are always one of the best things to look at, right?
Yeah.
So if you go in the tournament and you make a sincere effort and you're not sure what happened or you want some help with what happened, I'm pretty sure we'll go ahead and devote maybe a few days or whatever to going ahead and taking those replay requests, walking through them and figuring out just what happened and giving you some feedback and giving everyone else some feedback based on your own experience too. So may even get you on the show, may able to get you in Skype. So again,
Yeah.
no promises, but we'll see.
And it's a good way for us to cover some of the basics, going over those types of things, and as well as helping out some people who have questions. So that'd actually be a really good idea, but we'll see how that all is going to work out. Once again, just visit gamereplays.org. See all the information on that tournament. It should be a really big deal. It's good to have more tournaments in the scene, as well as having more casters popping up, so it just generally brings more attention to the game in general, which leads to more good things down the road.
Yeah, and I should also probably mention I also made a post about the tournament in the iCup forums, so if you're more familiar with the IC Cup forums over here, kind of dead at the moment. Well, the Dawn of War 2 section, should say, seems kind of dead at the moment, so that's probably not likely, but on the off chance that you are a little more familiar with the IC Cup forums, you can just head over to the Dawn of War 2 section on there, and you can get all the information there as well.
Yeah.
So now I believe that really is all. Again, thank you, Raelcun, for subbing in for Lokar. You did a great job, especially as we didn't have the easiest plate handed to us this week with all that just kind of happened unplanned and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, stuff happens. You kind of have to roll with the punches and we try to do our best. I'm still trying to figure out this game, as I've been out of it for a little while since Chaos Rising, and yeah, hopefully you didn't have to correct me too much.
I think I said this the first day. I didn't have to correct you anymore, and I have to correct Lokar. So
Oh, that's always fun.
I'd say that's pretty good. So, but again, thank you very much, and thank our viewers very much for watching. And we will see you again on Monday, possibly with Raelcun, definitely with Lokar. I'm not sure if Lokar is not sick anymore, but hopefully.
Yeah, I think he said he was doing better and he should be at his computer again tomorrow, so we'll see how he's doing on Monday. He should be here. I might take at least Monday off, because double casting this whole week has made me pretty exhausted. But I don't know if I'll be coming back later on in the week. I'll let you know.
Alright, definitely. Well, again, thank you, and thank everyone else, and I will see you Monday. This is 5-Star General.
And Raelcun. We'll see you guys later.